welcome to my channel. So today I've got a flip through for you of this book. It was sent to me for review to show on the channel. This is going to be a good book for anybody who likes a bit of variety in their collection, but I believe when talking to Gary, who is the author, Gary Hemmings, he said this is more also, it is a colouring book, but it's also considered a sort of a study guide. We have anatomy, and it is an A4 book. It's got one of these soft rubber covers, so you know, the ones that feel like moleskin. We have a little hint of what's inside, so these look very sort of mandala-y. So let's just get straight into the flip through. I've not actually looked at them. Well, I've peeked at a couple of pages, but I've not really looked at it. So this is the opening page. We do have a mandala here. So yeah, we have our table of contents. This is going to be the format in general throughout the book. We have a bit of an information panel here. We have ourselves a little diagram of a cell. We have a cool little thing here that if you want to colour in the page in alcohol markers and don't mind the bleed through, you can. But if you are using it as a study guide, which is what it's fundamentally aimed to be, you've got a place here to put your notes as well. And then we have like the bigger, so we've got the small version of the cell. And then we've got the bigger version as a sort of a mandala. It's a very detailed mandala. Obviously some of these things you would just colour over as opposed to all the little details. But yeah, so we have a cell. So it's very unusual. Again, we've got a plain page here where you can put notes or not worry about the bleed. And then it's repeated. So we've got the nucleus. And again, we've got this mini image here that you can obviously colour. And then we have a mandala of it. I mean, it's really unique. I've never seen a book like this. Obviously I'm not that much into study guides, not at my age. I'm beyond the school years, but it is a really sort of unusual. So anybody who likes that sort of just something a bit different, and especially if you do like mandalas, because here's the chromosomes, this is a quite cool one, then yeah, you know, it's like it's a bit of learning and colouring. You know, I'll just go straight through with the flip through now, and I won't try and these are words that are just, well, I can say that ribosomes. I've never actually heard of a ribosome, but yeah, it's I'm not going to go into detail because there's a lot of pages. This is a thick book. Look how thick this is. You're getting your money's worth. But we'll get on with the flip. And this one's got leaves on. So yeah, it's not entirely all sort of bodily parts. Well, these are cells, aren't they? So, you know, you would never see one of these in real life unless you're looking under a microscope. We have our cell types. A very intricate mandala there. That's even if you coloured over some of the things in general. You want to do it with your fine liners. A bit about tissue. Again, another, so this is like a lacy one. I mean, like I say, it's such a cool concept of taking things like anatomy and turning them into mandalas. It does look hand-drawn as well, if you know what I mean. Nervous tissue. I just, yeah. I love this idea of right, the bony thorax. Love that. Look, we have this, and it's I mean, that is basically your rib pack. Ugh. That is basically your rib cage, isn't it? And now you've got a mandala out of it. The long bone, and then we've got mandala of bones. It's quite imaginative, really, when you think about it. I mean, especially the ones with the cells and, you know, turning this. I mean, this is just like, I got a mandala of pelvic girdles. Not something I thought I'd be saying this morning when I got up. Just, yes, I think I'll do my mandala of pelvic girdles. Obviously, I'm having a chuckle. upper limb. I mean, you could do if you really was at a stretch. You could do something like that for Halloween, even. You know, your skeletons. But as I mentioned, the artist, this is a study guide. So we have our hands in the mandala. So we have a skull mandala. It's actually a square mandala as well. We have the heart. I like here it's got like quotes. I should have mentioned that. I mean, it does tell you about what it is that we're talking about, but I do like that there's a little quote there as well. The respiratory system. That's a bit gruesome, really. The intestine. Again, who knew that I would be talking about a mandala about large intestine? Not something I would imagine, but really, you know, it's just a really cool way to make sort of serious learning a bit more light-hearted and memorable. I remember when I was at school, like a lot of the things, you know, in order to memorize things, you use colour, because your brain can split, you know, words and things that you try to remember, but it also has a separate area that's colour. So if you can associate colour with a certain thing, then it helps you remember it. So that's really good if if you're looking at this to try and hold on to information and learn things. You can colour it, you know, it doesn't even have to be realistic. You can just colour it a certain way as a sort of memory chart. Anatomy of the pancreas. Some of the mandalas are quite simple as well, whilst there's some really, really detailed ones, especially back in the cells. But they're not all like that. The brain. That's like a flower. Looks like a flower, doesn't it? Spinal column. And we've got our skulls here around the edge. They are quite cool patterns though. Synapses. Taste the tongue. See how many pages there are. This is a really, really chunky book. All these little ears around the edge. That's quite cool because it's got black background as well. And I don't usually like eyes. I've got a bit of a thing about eyes. But that's quite nice. I actually like that. It's probably my favourite of the book. This is quite good as well. I guess I quite like the bold lines. And there we have it. Like I say, this is a quite unusual colouring book, and also a study guide or a study aid. And yeah, this idea of how you could use colour to help remember what you've learned. I will obviously leave a link in the description below to where you can buy this book on Amazon. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye.